Good morning, good morning. Hold on, wait a minute, come on. Good morning, good morning. There we go. I know it's 8:30. I can look at the spear here, 8:27 a.m. Appreciate you all coming this morning. But first, before I introduce myself, let's give KC SourceLink, the Global Entrepreneurship Week team, sponsors, supporters, a round of applause for an excellent week. Excellent, excellent. First, I want to introduce myself. My name is Theodis Watson. I am the National President of Urban Financial Services Coalition, but I stand before you today as the Director of Business Banking for CrossFirst Bank. So CrossFirst Bank, a little bit about us. We are 17 years old, so we're not far from many entrepreneurs here, as was once a small business with like $200 million and less in assets 17 years ago. May sound like a lot of money in this room, but it is a small amount when you're talking about banking and financing, right? But today we are $8 billion in assets, born and raised in Leawood, Kansas. We have offices in Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas as well. So we're growing and expanding as well. Exciting, we are currently going through a merger. And so anybody heard of GEWKC Bank? Okay, thank you for the one person in the room. I love it, that's right. So soon you'll hear more about us, right? So GEWKC Bank is based in Champaign, Illinois. They cover Chicago, St. Louis, Indiana, and Florida. So we'll be expanding to about a $20 billion bank. So we're very excited about that because we can bring more products, services, and resources to not only our current markets, but specifically here in Kansas City. So we're excited about that. So first, I just really want to thank everyone in this room for going out. Entrepreneurs, you are truly the lifeblood and the backbone of America. If you don't know, I'm telling you that. You all help find solutions, you all identify opportunities, and you all create commerce, right? We wouldn't be able to do our jobs as a community, as banking industry, if we're not loaning money and helping businesses grow. So we are very excited about sponsoring this breakfast event, learning more about how you all can benefit and partner and grow your business through the biggest stage in America, right? The World Cup. So let's give Kansas City a round of applause. Let's go. So very excited, very excited. So we have an exciting panel today, but I just am excited about the opportunities that exist. Please continue to find solutions. Please continue to challenge the status quo. Please look for opportunities to grow your business, and I think this panel will help you out. But on behalf of CrossFirst Bank, we're looking forward to continue to sponsoring and supporting small business. We're excited about the future of Kansas City. And again, let's have a great week, rest of the week, and let's enjoy this panel. So thank you all again.
We're thrilled to share insights about the upcoming World Cup coming to Kansas City. The Segura team is getting an early start because this global soccer tournament will be the largest event in our city's history. Hispanic viewership is expected to be among the highest as Latinos worldwide are deeply passionate about football. This presents a unique opportunity for forward-thinking brands looking to tap into the rapidly growing Hispanic market. Thanks to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Greater Kansas City, we're hosting these presentations for businesses of all sizes at the Business Center, sponsored by T-Mobile. Is your brand ready to take advantage? Join us at the next event, or let us bring the presentation directly to your marketing team. Don't miss this chance to position your brand at the forefront of this exciting moment.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for coming. This topic, the World Cup, is such a big topic. I was really having a hard time trying to figure out how to squeeze this all in. When we're talking about the size of the World Cup and really the incredible opportunity that Kansas City is getting in terms of being able to bring that audience to Kansas City, as well as the surrounding market, it's just really gigantic numbers. So I wanted to do a few things and just share a few numbers for you. So let's see if we jump right here. One more? Okay.
We're thrilled to
There we go. So we've got about 567 days. I counted them out from today. We've got about 567 days until the start of the World Cup. Are you guys getting ready for this? Are you all starting to prepare yet for any of this? Anybody out there? Yes, we've got some people getting ready. Excellent, very good. I'm going to take some words from my friend Neil Sharma. Neil Sharma has been part of the planning committee. And not too long ago, he gave a presentation with the Kansas City, Kansas Chamber and the Shawnee Chamber. And he started his presentation out by saying that the 2026 World Cup will be the largest event mankind has ever put on in the history of mankind. And if you let that sink in, how many people will be watching? How many games that we'll be playing, how big and broad this event will be. I was like, that's a really good point. It's going to be the largest thing, and it's going to be the most watched event in human history as well. So just to go back a little bit in time, the World Cup started in 1930. It was played in Uruguay for the first time. It's being hosted now for the 21st time. So back in 1994, the United States hosted the World Cup before then, and we had back then 52 matches, 3.6 million in ticket sales, and that was 30 years ago. But now let's look at what it's going to be like today. So for the first time, it's going to be held in 3 different countries: United States, Canada, Mexico, in 16 different cities. And the participation of teams has gone up from 36 teams to now 48 teams. And the matches increased from what was back then 52 matches to now 104 matches. Some of those are going to be played here in Kansas City. And when I found out that Kansas City was going to be one of the host cities, we really were just amazed, because when you think about the size of Kansas City in comparison to some of the other cities like Dallas, Houston, Mexico City, we are so much smaller. But what that does is that really gives us a big opportunity to make a big splash for Kansas City. And so that's what we're really going to be talking about today. And so we've got a great panel of really great leaders here in Kansas City who have been doing their part to participate and lead in the development of this event coming to Kansas City. I know that the cities and the people, the administrators of the city, are doing everything they can to make this really work for everyone's benefit. So today we're going to be talking to some leaders about what they're doing to benefit. But one thing I want to also mention is that one of the big audiences of this World Cup, and this comes from a background of my Hispanic marketing background, is that one of the biggest audiences, of course, is going to be the Hispanic audience. And for many businesses who have always thought about, how am I going to try to get into this Hispanic market, what I've been trying to share with businesses is that this World Cup offers you all the biggest and the easiest marketing opportunity you'll ever have to get into the World Cup. This is it. So when it comes to starting your development, your strategy, this is something you want to start as the World Cup begins. And the thing is that you don't have to wait till the World Cup comes in 2026. You can start developing those communications now, because you'll have develop that relationship with that market, and it'll continue to go beyond after the World Cup comes. So when it comes to the business profit, it's going to be $11 billion worth of profit. This big game is going to be making that much money, $4.5 billion more than the last cycle. So with that many games, with that many viewers, this is your opportunity to really get seen by a global stage. So let's get started. We're going to have one more note that we are right in the heart of this game. As you can see, Kansas City, we're basically in the middle of everything, from Mexico City, Guadalajara, New York, Miami, Houston, LA, Toronto. Kansas City is literally right in the middle of everything. So let's take advantage of that. And finally, right before we come, we're going to bring our panelists up in just a moment. We're just going to find this.
Hola. I'm not just any soccer ball. I represent the heart and the spirit of Latino consumers. The greatest and largest sport event ever produced by mankind is just around the corner, and cities are gearing up to welcome millions of Latino fans. Did you know that Hispanic consumers are among the most passionate soccer supporters? This is your brand's chance to connect with a vibrant and passionate community. Open the door and embrace the energy, the culture, the excitement. Imagine your brand at the center of this celebration. Engage with Latino consumers well, and you'll create a long-lasting relationship, the envy of any brand. Join us, and let's score big as the greatest and most beautiful game comes to your city. Engage Hispanic consumers and score big.
All right, let's bring up our panelists. We've got a really great group of people today. I'm going to have Kim Randolph, David Puente, Cici Rojas, and Francisco Murguia come on up to the stage. All right, well, we've got some really big people up on stage here. And you know what I'm going to do? You all have very long resumes, and it would take us, the whole panel, if I went through everyone's resume. So I'm going to just have you all introduce yourself, and go ahead and tell us a little bit about your business and what you're doing for the World Cup.
Good morning. I am actually Kim Randolph Davis. I'm a married woman now. So, I'm president and CEO of the Heartland Black Chamber of Commerce. I am an entrepreneur. I own 3 businesses and just now became a partner with my husband in his business. What we've been doing at the chamber level, I don't know if anyone knows, but the Heartland Black Chamber and the Hispanic Chamber in March of this year purchased a building together. And so together we have been working on preparing our businesses to build to capacity. The biggest deal for us, we noticed that during NFL draft, is a lot of our small businesses, you guys, were not able to participate, some of you, because of your capacity. And so between now and 2026, we have developed a program. We have 2 programs. One is our GROW program, that is our resource partners, that we bring in our members and our small businesses, and we connect them with resource partners who will help you with everything from your books, your HR, your health care, because we're talking beyond World Cup. We don't want everybody just to focus on World Cup. We want this to be a springboard for your business to move forward in the future. There'll be bigger, or maybe nothing bigger than the World Cup, but there'll be more opportunities coming to Kansas City, and I'm sure David's going to speak on that. And then we have the Strivesphere program, which is industry-specific training. And you will have to get in on that in our January cohort, because after January, we'll start another one the next year, but it's a 1-year program. So in order for you to be a part of that growth, you'd have to get in on our cohort now and then be prepared.
She's ready. We're trying to complement what Kim's doing. My name's David Prente. I'm with the Greater Kansas City Chamber, and we are collaborating with local groups throughout the region. I think that's one thing that we've been mindful of this whole endeavor. If you reference the draft, there's been lots of other times where some of these endeavors can be sort of isolated in terms of how they're produced and the knowledge about that. So one thing we identified early on is we need everybody in this region to know what's knowable at this moment in time. So we've been at this for a couple years. We chamber leaders convened at least 2 summers ago. We went and we barnstormed out to other chambers. We had an event with the Hispanic Chamber. We had an event in the Northland. We had an event in Lee Summit. We went all over to just share what was knowable. The size and scale numbers that were mentioned are significant, and they're different than American fans realize. We equate everything back to the Super Bowl, And in the slide deck that we give, there's like a graph, and it shows just how small the Super Bowl viewership is versus the World Cup viewership. So us Americans might not be oriented to the size and scale. So we've tried to be an ally and an asset to the World Cup planning group to make sure that businesses throughout the region are ready. And we do that through sort of information sharing, less programmatic than Kim's doing. I don't think that's our chamber's lane, is to prepare businesses as much as kind of inform regional leaders and municipal leaders so that we can plan appropriately.
Hi, I'm Cece Rojas, and I am co-founder of Tico Productions and Tico Sports. And we are, so this is our new tagline, is that we know sports. We know sports, primarily we know how to connect brands through sports, predominantly in the Latino market. In 2016, we have a multicultural marketing company, media company, and so we do all the things that you would think about. But we developed in 2016 a sports Spanish language broadcasting portal and platform rather. And so now we are the NFL official broadcasters for 6 NFL teams, collegiate teams, done MLB, hockey. Yeah, there are Latinos that love hockey. And then now with the Kansas City Current. And what was really cool this year with the Kansas City Current, it wasn't just Spanish, now we also produce a Portuguese broadcast. So what we've learned in all of our learnings, and we have been to Super Bowls, but we also know the cool thing about a Super Bowl, which is relevant even like draft and the international NFL games, it's not just one game with them either, it's a whole week of events. So there are many ways to plug in to any of the activities. Yeah, the World Cup scale is a lot bigger. We're expecting 650,000 people. Think about that over about a 4-week span of time. So there are going to be many opportunities for any business if they're ready to be able to take advantage of it. The other thing that we've learned is it's not just about Spanish. Yes, the Latino market is going to be very important, but there are other languages that that FIFA has placed priority on. It's Spanish first, French, German, and then the 5th would be Portuguese. So it's really important to think about all of those, because at the end of the day, we will not know what base camps we will have until almost the end of 2025. So part of this is being flexible. Latinos absolutely are going to be very important, but we also need to think a little bit beyond that, which is what we've been doing.
Hi, my name is Francisco Murguia, and I'm owner of Café Oyama and also co-founder of GEWKC Soccer Academy. And so the vision for Café Oyama initially started in 2018 when Kansas City and United States was granted an opportunity to participate in the World Cup. And so we opened Café Oyama as an opportunity hub to connect more of the underserved community with these opportunities that the sport can bring. That led to the foundation of GEWKC Soccer Academy, which is an all-encompassing educational institution within the Northeast. And so our mission is to spread the methodology of a fun game. And so soccer is a very strong vehicle for development, and so it gives us an opportunity to create a holistic approach in youth development. And so following the microcycles of practicing and playing fun games from Monday to Friday will have an impact in children's lives. And so our focus is not just the World Cup, but the 10 years after the World Cup, and really focus not only on player development, but also coaching education by sharing our methodology of how to participate in the sport that will ultimately make your lives more efficiently, more effective, and a lot more enjoyable. And so I've actually brought 2 students with us today so that they can start to envision themselves in what this ecosystem is all about, and so they can make an impact in our underserved community as we evolve.
Great. Kim, David, you all are part of 2 significant chambers. Kim, you're the executive director of the Black Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce. Tell us about some of the things that you all are doing to educate businesses in the area to get them prepared for the World Cup as it's coming.
I can start. We have different programs, similar sort of structure of our organizations, but our organization has about 2,000 members, and our charter is to think regionally about challenges that this region is undertaking, and this opportunity with the World Cup can also be viewed as a challenge, right? We've got to work together and collaborate in a way that sometimes we do better than other times, right? So we took this head on, and we started to convene the chambers. And then after we started convening and we understood that they wanted to pass this information on to their small businesses in their communities, we pushed on the World Cup group a little bit on how do we ensure that they get opportunities to receive direct business? How do they get considered for RFPs that will come from KC 2026 or from FIFA directly? So we worked collectively, and we led an endeavor to inform all of the chambers about a small business intake form. The form is still active on most chamber, if not all chambers in the region. It'll stay open through December, and it allows small businesses to raise their hand individually, fill out a form, give some information, and then you will receive RFPs from the KC 2026 planning group. They have already hired and secured local businesses. The lead transportation folks are HNTB and Burns and Mac, and then there's an international player that helps with the buses. So they're using and sourcing this list already. And I've been told that there might be another one coming soon. There's the KC 2026 planning group, the Neil Sharma group, Karen Daniel, that civic group of leaders is leading the local charge. Pam Kramer's the executive director. There's also the sort of FIFA that sits parallel and overseas. So there will be opportunities from both sides, and there's an opportunity from FIFA coming soon. So for the nearly 1,000 small businesses that have completed the form, they will receive an RFP and be able to throw their hat in the ring for the services that FIFA needs on this specific need coming up. So we're really proud of that, and we're trying to amplify that through our relationships with our chambers. And one thing I would just say as you view this and hear about the scale, this is not a scarcity model. This is not a my chamber or Kim's chamber or anybody's chamber. There will be people here aplenty, plenty of people for us to benefit from. So today's session is about how to prepare your business and take that knowledge back and capitalize on it. That's what this is all about. It's about the collective us activating the region. And if you'll just appease me, I was able to go to the World Cup 2.5 years ago in Doha and see firsthand just the size and scale of this thing. And yes, I saw some matches. Yes, I went to Fan Fest. Those are the two obvious. But my best memories were in different places in that community. The cultural assets that I was able to see, the cultural assets that we have in our community, we better prepare them for the folks, because if you've got a small family, you want to go to a game, that family doesn't maybe want to go to a game the next day. So think about how you can activate your communities and get ready to go, because it doesn't all have to be soccer-centric. Yes, the audience will be here to view soccer, but I'm sure in the experience you have, Cece, you want some downtime. You want some other things besides just another watch party for a game that's not your nation. So think a little bit outside of soccer as you prepare for this audience would be my counsel.
So, it's very well spoken. We have taken this opportunity, and this is a perfect opportunity for us to bridge the gap between communities. We have the opportunity to show Kansas City in a way that it has never been seen, and that's collaborative. Myself, as well as Carlos, have started partnering with the surrounding chambers. I, too, am a regional chamber. So my chamber reach is Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, and Nebraska. And because the World Cup is so big, those are areas that will participate in assisting us in areas that we're going to be short on. When you talk about bringing in probably 2 small cities, when you say 600,000 people, you're talking about needing security, first responders, transportation. So there's a lot. There is no scarcity in this. For us, what we're doing is we're preparing, and it doesn't matter if you are members, that's first, because we want to make sure that our city looks good. But it doesn't matter if you're a member of the Hispanic Chamber, the Black Chamber, the Greater Kansas City Chamber, if you need help in getting to capacity. And that's going to include helping you with your bonding, your insurance, your banking, all the things that you're going to need to be prepared. Don't wait until January 26th and say, hey, I want to participate. Now is the time. It's going to take a lot of time. Our collaboration with the Greater Kansas City Chamber, they keep us informed. And so, again, I met with Blue Springs, Lee Summit, Leewood, Raymore. There's a coalition of metropolitan Kansas City chamber leaders. We're all looking at watch parties. As David said, cultural consciousness is going to be really important. One of the things I've been fighting for sure, is to make sure that because everything's coming down crossroads, but when you go east or west, you have the Hispanic population on one side, you have the black population on the other. Both of those sides are historically known around the world. People are going to venture to you, and we have to be prepared. So on the east side, because I know the west side is very well covered with people like CC and Francisco and others that are really working at, on this side, if you go to the Northeast District of Kansas City, and I think isn't that where you're?
That's where the school is. The school is on
Yeah,
Northeast.
so
It's on Independence and
so my niece used to teach at Northeast. The cultural diversity, that's the word, over there is amazing. So we want to make sure that we set up a watch party where we can all come together, and it doesn't matter what country you are in, but there is a place that people can come and experience whoever we are, but who we are as a city and not as ethnicities, because we do want to come together. We are going to be all eyes on us across the world, not across the country, across the world, and we want Kansas City to shine brighter than anything in North America.
Yeah, and to highlight more on what she's saying is that GEWKC Soccer Academy is taking an initiative to structure a urban soccer festival that will lead into the World Cup, and then we hope that soccer festival then takes over for years to come then thereafter by using boulevards like Van Brunt Boulevard, which is a Dutch explorer, and Martin Luther King Boulevard, as well as a Southwest Boulevard. And so creating a soccer festival that could attract other small businesses, and then be able to present an opportunity for kids that maybe don't have the opportunity to receive proper methods or proper equipment for them to participate in the sport, can be a good introduction for them to continue to see the sport as something fun that they could do.
Cece, so you've been in, how many years has Tico been doing sports now?
Since 2016.
2016. So you've got experience in worlds in the sports. Tell us what you're doing, just how that's helped you be prepared for the World Cup.
Sure. First, I would say let's not forget Kansas. We've talked a lot about Missouri, but Kansas is going to be pivotal because probably we'll have a couple base camps there. And we're already talking to, Wichita. We're talking as far out as Topeka. Why? Because people are going to be staying there for hotel rooms. That's realistic.
It's about a 3-hour
Yep, it is.
window.
So let's remember and keep that in mind. Yeah, we've been doing this now since 2016. We're still, I believe, kind of flying the plane and building it. But we've had a lot of lessons learned. And what we have learned, too, is it's, what we call it is beyond the booth. It's beyond game day broadcasting. Sports is 24/7. That's the beautiful thing about sports, and this is the impetus for this. Yes, there's going to be other things you need to think about, but sports is a passion point. I don't care in what language or culture. It brings people together. It's a unifier, and that is the other thing I hope that will be long-standing beyond this. I think what we've learned is that there's a big business case to be made, especially as a marketer, to connecting brands to these in multiple languages and in multiple culture competencies through sports, because it is a passion point. So we've had the ability to learn that. We have been actively thinking about this, and we've had some action plans in place for several months now. We do have a couple clients we're working with specifically to connect to the Latino community, using this as a jumping off point and then beyond. So that is definitely, something that we've been thinking about. But beyond that, there's a give back that we've been working with, and I hope to work with Francisco further. I think sports is also an equalizer for many communities, especially communities that have been challenged, but from a financial perspective, to be able to fully participate. So we hope that this is another opportunity for us to convene around that, making sure youth, and not just youth, but there's other people that might have a passion for sports beyond playing. They might want to be officiators. There's all kinds of careers in sports. So anyway, yes, we have been preparing, and I do have some lessons learned whenever you want to get to that.
Well, I think we ought to talk about that because we're in a room full of entrepreneurs, and you all have business experience. So what are some of the biggest challenges that these entrepreneurs will face, and what is your advice on how to overcome them?
I'm going to start, just because I'm in this space right now. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm building it. I would say you have to get your basics right first. For those of you who have the ability to become a certified business, whether it's an MBE, WB, DBE, do it now. Get certified. These are the basics. Get your financial houses in order. Why? Because at some point you're probably going to have the same paperwork that you would need for a loan or funding is almost the exact same rigorum that you'd have to go through for certification. You get your business prepared and you're ready to go on a dime. So I would say those two things. Think about your capability statement. So what are you capable of? What can you provide? What can you stretch? But what are your basic competencies, and document those. Once again, you're going to need those at any given time. Obviously, networking is key, but I would say that it's really important to get your fundamentals in order, because I do know when we start, which I'm also privy, and I don't know, Kim, you are too. The city is working on a big, in the city of Kansas City, Missouri. I hope that Wyandotte County will do the same thing. But they're working on a way to relax or be more flexible with regulations. For example, if you have a restaurant and you want to have a pop-up food truck or food type of activation, there's so many rules and regulations that you have to go through now. You have to have a catering license. You have to have obviously the health department licensing. There's so many things that you have to have. They're typically 1 or 2 days. They're not like for extended periods of time. So they're working on how they can relax those regulations. So what does that mean? Once again, make sure you have your fundamentals in place. So when those opportunities occur, and even for an RFP, the RFPs, we've already been through a couple. They require a lot of information, a lot of documentation. Some may require financials, some may not, but definitely capability statements. So those were a couple things we've already learned.
So she just described Stripesphere. I used to do the certification for the state of Missouri, MBE, WBE, and my job was to make sure your paperwork was in order and then to visit your business to make sure you were a business. The Heartland Black Chamber of Commerce and in coalition with the Hispanic Chamber through our Stripesphere program, we are going to take you through getting your certification, making sure you understand your capability statement and be honest about your capabilities. Know what you are able to do and then hone in on that and grow it. These are the things, and then critical, how to read an RFP. We make more mistakes on not understanding the RFP and then bidding on something, and we either underbid it or we misbid because we don't understand the rules and regulations. So all of these things are things that we're going to help with. And depending on what industry you're in, there'll be estimating for those that are in the construction, there'll be inventory when you're in the restaurant business, all the things that you need to be ready and to be in position. I think that, Cece, you said it all. I mean, the basics. Have your basics in order, and definitely if you go through the certification process and you get everything together, you're ready to walk into the bank if your financials are together. If your financials are together, but if you decide that you need help, I'll just say, give us a call, go online, reach out to the Hispanic Chamber, reach out to the Heartland Black Chamber, reach out to them, reach out to CC, and find out where the resources are out there for you and know that we're there. Also, you can always reach out to my friend Nicholas.
I love an open microphone. No, I would just say I'm going to hit regionalism again because I think it's essential. You mentioned KCK. I think Independence or Lee Summit. Show of hands, who lives in Missouri? That's a little heavier slant than I anticipated. Who lives in Kansas? Okay, so 60-40 or a little heavier. Point is, every asset that we have in the region needs to be thinking about this. So talk with your local chambers, talk with your neighborhood association, talk with your city council members, and think about how you can activate your community. I've been saying this for 2 years. If we don't have a portion of Southwest Boulevard closed down and celebrate the passion of the Hispanic soccer fans here, we're missing the mark, right? Because when this international audience and this hyper Midwestern audience comes to town, we want to show them the flavors of Kansas City that makes us special. So beat the trees locally, I guess, is kind of my point. Don't expect the planning committee. I think we've done good at kind of dispelling this myth. Don't expect the planning committee that's got to figure out how to get FIFA delegates from the airport to the stadiums and those sort of things to be planning the activation in Lee Summit or in North Kansas City or whatever that is. That's up to us locally, right? The local leaders, the elected officials, have been informed on what they can do and can't do, and there's some planning and there's some coordinating going on. So just have good dialogues with your elected officials and your local folks. Some of those opportunities might be more fruitful than chasing FIFA RFPs.
And I would like to add to follow the World Cup qualifiers. If you follow the World Cup qualifiers, it can give you an idea of what you can envision. Create an account on FIFA.com. Now you can create an account where you have access to tickets. So you won't get a ticket now, but you'll create an account. They will keep you up to date, and then they'll let you know when the draws are occurring. You'll have two different opportunities for tickets. You could either follow a specific national team, and you'll enter a draw where you could either just get tickets for that specific national team, or you could select cities where you are going to prefer tickets. There is going to be a process where you have to provide passport, you'll have to provide your bank information, and once you enter the draw, they'll just automatically take your money from it, but because you've already created an account and you've already committed to access to tickets. And so just that would be something that I would really now focus on. The draw won't happen until the beginning months of 2026. It hasn't been said, but I can almost guarantee you that the United States will play here in Kansas City. It'll be strategic. It'll be done so that you can have more people from the American cities to come, like Minneapolis, Denver, Chicago. These cities did not receive an MLS match, and so based on where we are geographically, it would be home field advantage to bring the United States here to Kansas City. The other thing to note is the Compass Mineral has a U.S. Soccer Federation partnership for coaching education, and so it'll be likely that will be a training headquarter for them, as well as Atlanta. And so just to kind of keep those things in mind. And then another thing to keep in mind is that there will be a quarterfinal match. And then so the quarterfinal match will be one that would attract the largest amount of followers, and then expect a very high caliber national team to participate in this quarterfinal match here in Kansas City.
I wanted to say one thing. So remember, there's probably 2 or 3 matches that we know will be played at GEWKC Field. 6. I mean, a total of 6 rather. Total of 6. GEWKC Field is amazing. I mean, Arrowhead. I have to get used to calling it GEWKC Field. It's horrible in the broadcast. But what I would say is that only holds 78,000 people. Maybe 100,000 if you think about all the other ancillary people. So there's 600,000 or 500,000 others that are going to be wanting to do something during those time periods. And then there's only a certain amount of games. So what we do know when we even travel for the international stuff, people are looking for things to do actively. I mean, they can there's only a certain period of hours that you're going to actually be able to watch games. Now, you can watch the other games. So what we know is a lot of people will find they just want places where they can hang and convene to watch any of the other matches. But they are going to actively be looking for things to do. So if you're a business that provides restaurants or activities, museums. Are we talking about to the destinations, the destination points? I mean, there's an incredible opportunity for all these venues to start thinking about how they're going to market themselves.
Francisco, I'm a big fan of Oyama Cafe. I take a lot of friends down there. I have meetings down there. Try to introduce them to the cafe and the culture down there. Tell us about the vision of Cafe Oyama, and as well as how the soccer academy plays into that.
So Oyama is an abbreviation of Oyamatsili, and Oyamatsili is Nahuatl for the ball game. And so using the coffee shop as an opportunity hub has been able to share more of our cultural aspect. And so being that it is a sporting word aligned to the game, Cafe Oyama is very devoted to authenticity and bringing in that authenticity so that when followers do come, they feel that they have a place and a place that they feel safe at. And so part of our plan also is to expand into the outdoor seating and arrangement to make Southwest Boulevard a more pleasing space for walking. And so it's part of our mission to continue to share the principles that we have for the game, which are very simple, and it's just having space, having people, having a ball, and then having the right goal. And so with GEWKC Soccer Academy, we were able to maximize the potential of these students and be able to become leaders within our community. And so they've used the coffee shop to engage with other community members for their funding, but not only for the students, but also for other local artists that sometimes just need a space for them to be able to share and express their culture. And so at the coffee shop, we always use it as an opportunity just to start the conversation. And so just by starting the conversation, then we can start to build a relationship, because ultimately what we want to do is build positive relationships within our community so that it can help us all cooperate.
Can you tell me a little bit about that logo that you all have, the one with the Michael Jordan looking warrior playing soccer? Yeah,
for sure. And so the gesture of Oyamatsili is aligned towards a ball going through a hoop that's not like a basketball hoop, but more in this shape and form. And so we created a logo that shows the gesture of an Aztec warrior that's making the similar gesture as Michael Jordan with a cup of coffee going through the hoop. And so our plan is to also have other images of other soccer athletes that we know, historic ones, like Diego Maradona or Pelé, doing the similar gesture going through the hoop as a way to just expand our brand and expand our culture, aligning it towards the World Cup and towards the spread of soccer within our community.
I definitely want one of those T-shirts when you guys get the new ones out. Yeah. Well, so you've been talking, that's really kind of an opportunity to talk about branding. And you all have experience in marketing, branding, communicating. Can you guys tell us about your advice and insights on the importance of branding and how it ties into this World Cup? Francisco, we were talking to T-shirts. Why don't we start with you?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say something that triggers culture and emotions. And so if you're able to grasp an image that sparks curiosity, that discovers people's passion, that's certainly something that we strive for. We like to make it very cultural and very multilingual, and so often we'll present a lot of our promotion in Duolingo. So we'll do a post that it will be in Spanish, but then all of a sudden we'll mesh English into it, and that's to kind of keep our authenticity, but at the same time spark curiosity within what could be a conversation. And so we often get different questions like, well, what does Olama mean? And just the opportunity to help people practice their accent with 2 L's is already an opportunity to create a conversation. And so I also joke about it and say, oh, it actually means hola mama, like hi mom. And so for us, words can be created. We're not very strict, or we're not very stubborn on being negative, but we're more focused on just inspiring and letting people express themselves as best as they can.
That reminds me when my grade school teacher called them tortillas. And I was like, oh, I don't think that's the way it's pronounced. All right, Cece, branding, World Cup, advice.
And obviously we work with different brands, so we try to meet them where they are. And, obviously it's a whole process that you go through. But what we typically say is, you want to explain it to me like I'm 5, right? That's your audience. Explain it to me like I'm 5. So make it simple, make it something that grabs them. We definitely used both, dual languages, and now we sprinkle in Portuguese. Some of our stuff is in Spanglish. So that it's, and with some of our posts now, especially in the Midwest, what we've had a lot of success with, we will lead with an English title for a post, and then it's Spanish, because it grabs someone. They know exactly what they're listening to, what they're going to listen to. Like Oscar, my husband, had a post for the block field goal for the Broncos, I don't know, a couple weekends ago. It was a good one, but we led with that in English, and we got so many. It had so much engagement, over a million views. But just there was some simple things that we've learned over time. But obviously, it's passion points, the same thing that we've talked about. But I think that imagery will be really important. Imagery will be, especially when you have people that are coming into the market that may not speak English, would not be their first language. So the use of imagery, it will be very important. We've learned that as well.
You got something? You go ahead.
Okay, so what is this? If you see the red dot, what is it? Make it simple, but make it make sense. I've seen a lot of businesses that like certain logos, but they don't speak to their business. Has nothing to do with their business. When I look at it, I don't see. When I see Target, when I see the dot, I know that's Target. That means that's a store. It's on Target. It's going to have everything I need. Make it make sense. And then don't overcomplicate who you are. Be who you are and stick to your brand, and don't let people rebrand you. I see that a lot too. Your brand is your brand, and be excited about your brand. Hit those passion points that people, what you have is something that people want. So your brand is who you are. It identifies you. It is your mark. It is everything about your business. So I can't over talk these two because they've said everything, but I will say that your brand is your brand, and make sure that you make it easy, simple, and a 5-year-old can get it.
I'm going to go a little bit broader. These folks gave great advice, and I would follow all of it. I think we need to think about our brand as a region and as a community, and we are all brand ambassadors when this audience comes to our nation, right? So I've got 3 little boys, and I'm so excited for them to see folks from throughout the world in Kansas City, and I think it's incumbent on us to show them what we're all about, to show them the Kansas City nice, show them the cultural assets that we have, show them the gratitude we have for them being in our community. And I've started to hear a little bit of a murmur, and hopefully you guys can help me dispel this, of people that say, oh, there's going to be so many people downtown. We get this 650,000 number out there, and people are like, I'm just going to stay home. I don't want to be a part of all that. We have an opportunity to show off Kansas City in a way that will bring them back to Kansas City if we show them who we are. That was one of my takeaways from Doha, was they were so good at the wayfinding and kind of how to get us where we're going. We'll need a small army of volunteers locally to sort of show to the international and hyper Midwestern audience what we're all about. So when those volunteer calls come through your chambers or your cities, raise your hand and let these people know what Kansas City is all about.
Can I say one more thing? When you said that, that reminds me. A lot of people, we are all focusing on the opportunity to make money, and that's a great deal. But sometimes, because this is what small businesses have a shortage of, it's investment in yourself. And to be able to volunteer, because to someone's point, it's not about the FIFA contracts. There'll be other people that may have contracts with FIFA that you may be able to get a contract with. So it's not always just a FIFA contract. But be prepared to invest your time and your talent, because that may open another door for you. This has to go beyond the World Cup. All hands on deck. So if you can afford to say, I'm going to come and, CC, I know you're going to need somebody to help carry cameras. I know you don't, but I'm going to say that. I've got a team of people that will help carry cameras, and we will volunteer to do that. That makes our city, that gives us a brand, that brands us as a strong city, as strong businesses, and it also puts you in front of people who may look and say, they worked really hard for Tico Production. Give them a call. Let's see what they can do for us.
Well, I'll say that also one of the big things that we do is when it comes to Hispanic marketing is transcreating copy, making sure that your websites, making sure your brochures are transcreated correctly, and not just using Chat GPT or Google Translate. Those, we've all know that that does not work effectively when it comes to writing copy and advertising communications. So my advice is just to use a native Spanish speakers who are native to copywriting and playing with the language. I'm sorry? Yeah. Well, Spanish is going to be one of the big languages, but that's true for all the big languages coming to Kansas City. So yeah, multi-languages are going to be really important in all of your communications. All right. So let's talk about the World Cup and beyond, because we want to make sure that the business is sustained up to and beyond the World Cup. What are some strategies or some tactics or some pieces of advice that you can share with our other business owners that they could think about to do that effectively?
Yeah, so and I'll go with sharing that Rogoku Soccer Academy recently invited a director of the United Nations to become a partner for Football for the Goals. And so the educational model that we designed with Rogoku Soccer Academy is aligned towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And so quarterly, each student must design a passion project aligned towards the Sustainable Development Goals, and then they have to create a business plan and then present it amongst their students. And a little bit is about make sure that they practice not only giving presentations, but the reality of creating something that will help us become very sustainable. And so for us, that was a very important partnership as we continue to evolve in making sure that the educational component is aligned towards those sustainable development goals, because that will ultimately have an impact on our children's lives and their children's lives. And so with the opportunity to bring in the United Nations really gives us an opportunity to make contact with CONCACAF and other clubs that are aligned for Football for the Goals. Just in the United States, only the Seattle Reign and Rogoku Soccer Academy are the only two soccer clubs that are partnered with the United Nations for Football for the Goals, and our mission is to bring together Sporting KC and Kansas City Current in helping us with the initiative of making the sport a lot more diverse, a lot more inclusive, and a lot more equitable.
That's another first here in Kansas City. So.
That's okay. Couple things. Well, one, to David's very, very important point. It is about creating a regional plan that we're going to be working really hard to put Kansas City on the map, a region globally. So how is that sustainable beyond that? For example, if we can host 650,000 people, we can certainly go after some of the largest conventions in the country and even across the world that should consider Kansas City in that type of planning. So I'm looking forward to that. The other thing that I'm looking forward to is partnerships. This is an opportunity for non-traditional organizations, whether for social enterprise or for-profit enterprise, to come together for a common goal. The common goal right now is to get ready for World Cup and to perhaps do business together. Business is business, whether it's a tax status, nonprofit versus a for-profit business. So what types of partnerships can be formed that live beyond World Cup? So I think that will be important. We're certainly looking for those partners. I would ask anyone in this room that it's going to take a lot of partners to do some of the things that we are hopeful to do, especially on these regional activations that we're already in the early stages of planning. So that's what I hope happens.
So exactly, and that's my exact point. We have started joint venture partnerships. It is imperative. One of the things that we are trying to do with the Minority Chambers Development Center at 9100 War Parkway is to bring our communities together and joint venture partner. There's so much out here that can be done, and this divided city that we have, the west side and the east side. And the funny thing is, if you go down the street on either side, it's very diverse. But when it comes to business in this city, we've been very divided. Now is the chance and the opportunity for us, number one, to bridge that gap, to obliterate that line that separates us and become partners. We are working beyond not just the region. Right now, I'm working with the World Trade Center and the U.S. Commercial Services to get together and start building our businesses to go beyond not just the region, but to go nationally and then go globally. And there are some big opportunities right now beyond this World Cup right here in the Caribbean, which is really, really close. So I know a lot of times we talk about the countries that are much further away, but starting with how do we develop those opportunities utilizing this World Cup in partnerships. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to partner more with Tico Production, to partner with Francisco. All of those types of partnerships are going to make a difference for us as a region and as a city. And to your point, yes, I like CC. I have a Heartland Black Chamber in Wichita. I have one in St. Louis. We're working on one in Omaha. So there is that touch point that we should be connecting all businesses, and it doesn't matter what your business is. If you can do business outside of Kansas City, we want to move you there.
Partnership is the key word. I think that one of the things that the World Cup and the Greater Kansas City Chamber has been talking about is find a partner. Don't just try to do it all by yourself, but find a good partner who can help you and you can help them.
I just kind of dovetail off this. I believe in the last 2 or 3 years since it's been awarded the World Cup, you've already seen projects pushed forward, right? Like, think about this. How many times have you heard, we want to get this done before the World Cup? Like, it's already been a benefit to our region to push projects forward. And I think we would need to layer that thinking over other endeavors, too. We've got new owners of the plaza, and they're trying to get stuff done by the plaza. We've got the streetcar, those sort of things. So I think we're already living in a moment where we're maximizing, 2026 on the horizon. Now we've got to think about the legacy. Like, what's this going to be? What's the legacy of this game going to be that was here? Because if it's just those 26 days, I think we've kind of missed the mark. We need this to long outlast those days.
And let me say on partnerships, because of World Cup, this is the first time ever that the small chambers across the region, and that includes the Kansas and Missouri side, we meet monthly, and the leaders are meeting monthly to see how we can partner or to assist in each other's small areas, because those are going to be places of watch parties. So, yeah.
Well, we have put everyone's QR codes up on the ceiling there. So if you are interested in connecting with one of these leaders, feel free to scan their QR code, and you can find them on LinkedIn. I also want to give a big round of applause to this team up here, as well as Michael Carmona in the back of the room. I think Michael's there. Michael, raise your hand. Yes, thank you for putting this panel together. We appreciate it. As well as putting yesterday's presentations in Spanish, which is something that's happened for the first time here at Global Entrepreneurship Week. So we've got about a minute for some questions. So why don't I do this? I'll run out. I saw one first hand way out there, so I'll run up there to get you because you had a question, and then we've got to wrap up. But further questions, the panelists will be here for a while, and then of course you can find them on LinkedIn and ask questions there.
Thank you. Hi, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your expertise. All of these ideas are so inspiring, and this is all very exciting, but it's a little overwhelming for someone like me. I call myself a micro-entrepreneur. It's just me. I'm a fine artist. I don't know how I fit into all this, or if I do. When you said some people are like, I think I might just stay home, I'm like, is that me? I would love to hear your expert opinions. Is there somewhere I can fit into this?
Did you say you're an artist?
Yes.
Yeah, the Arts Coalition ran by Dana Knapp is really active and working directly with the committee to ensure that local artists and our cultural sort of assets have a forum and a place in this. It's not just the Fan Fest. So if you don't know Arts KC, Dana Knapp runs Arts KC, and I would encourage you to talk directly with her because she's contemplating artists specifically and how we can sort of maximize. There's a really cool campaign that they just did around the poster. So each World Cup has a poster for each host city. So for years, we're going to have this poster hanging in our offices and our homes, and they sourced and did a contest to have local artists that had the capability to put forth their creative ideas. And there'll be an announcement in the coming months on who was selected and what that'll be, and they're sourcing that through local artists. So there's going to be more opportunities for artists specifically. But if it's not a chamber, it's another association that you're involved with, and go there first, and they'll be able to kind of get broader ideas.
Yeah, I think there's going to be lots of room for artists. I'm going to try to get another
And
question because
I will say that I know for sure some of the watch areas, they're going to have pop-up booths for local artists to sell their art.
I just want to say I'm on the Raytown Committee for 2026, and you guys have really helped us out a lot. I don't know if we have met with you, but if not, we need a training. I'm on my way to my meeting after this. I lived on the East Coast. I was born here, but I lived on the East Coast for over 45 years, and people don't realize Kansas City's here. We are the heart of the nation. We have more fountains than any city in the world except Rome. Now, they have 2,000, we have 201, but we have more cities. And we could really put ourselves on the map and make us a global vacation location, because we have so much. I work across from the stadium, and there's so many people that ask me for things to do. And just when I send them from one end to the other, they come back so excited. It's a fabulous city. We need to really atomize. And there will be festivals for artists.
All right, well, that's about time. We're at a little over time right now, but I want to just thank the panelists. Let's give a round of applause to our panel, everybody. And be sure to connect with them on LinkedIn if you can ask any questions, but they'll be here for a little bit afterwards to ask questions as well. Thank you all for coming to today's presentation.